It was a chilly autumn morning when I noticed something strange in my own home. My granddaughter, little Emma, was still asleep in her crib, her soft curls peeking out from under her tiny blanket. That blanket, it wasn't just any blanket. My late daughter had hand-knitted it before she passed, pouring every ounce of love and care into every stitch. It had been my solace, my connection to her. And now it was Emma's comfort, her security. I was making tea in the kitchen when I heard the sound of fabric being crumpled and thrown. Curious, I peeked around the corner and froze. My daughter-in-law, Sarah, was holding Emma's blanket, looking frustrated. She muttered something under her breath, a little too loud for me to ignore. Then, with a sharp toss, she threw the blanket into the trash can. My heart skipped a beat. I could barely process what I had just seen. I rushed over, my hands trembling, and asked, "Sarah, why did you throw that away?" She flinched, caught off guard. "It's just a blanket," she replied, her voice tight. "She's old enough to use a normal one. This thing is messy. You should know how it smells after a few weeks of use." I wanted to scream. Messy? Smells? That blanket had been Emma's comfort for months. I couldn't believe she had such little respect for something that meant so much, not just to Emma, but to all of us who had lost so much. My mind raced. Should I just take it out of the trash and forgive this little outburst? Or was there something deeper going on here? I reached into the trash can carefully, my fingers brushing against the soft wool. Then something caught my eye. There was something tucked inside the folds of the blanket, something small and folded neatly. I pulled it out. My heart froze. It wasn't just fabric inside. It was a folded piece of paper, slightly crumpled but readable. A note, written in my late daughter's handwriting. My breath caught in my throat. How had this ended up here, hidden inside the blanket? And why had Sarah thrown it away? I felt a mix of panic, anger, and curiosity. My hands shook as I unfolded the paper. It was a message, a secret, something my daughter had written months before she passed. I could feel her presence in every line, her voice whispering through the ink. The words were shocking, heartfelt, and troubling. Suddenly, everything changed. That blanket wasn't just sentimental. It held something that could change how I saw everything happening in my family. My eyes darted towards Sarah, who was now pretending to be busy cleaning the kitchen, oblivious to the fact that I had discovered her small act of sabotage. I knew I had to find out why she had done this. What was she hiding? And more importantly, what had my daughter left behind inside that blanket? I clutched the note, my mind spinning. This was only the beginning. I stared at the note, my hands trembling as I tried to make sense of the words. My late daughter's handwriting was unmistakable, looped, careful, filled with the kind of emotion that only comes from writing to someone you trust completely. But the words themselves were strange, cryptic almost, and they made my stomach twist with unease. "Grandma, if you're reading this, it means the blanket is safe with you. Remember, some things are not as they seem," it began. My heart skipped a beat. I had to hide it. "Promise me you'll protect Emma from what I never could, and trust no one with this, not even Sarah. She doesn't understand." I felt a chill run down my spine. My mind immediately jumped to Sarah. Could she know something about this note? Could that be why she threw the blanket away? I clenched my jaw, suddenly aware that the quiet house I had always loved had layers I never fully understood. I held the blanket close and thought about Emma, peacefully sleeping, unaware of the storm swirling around her. How could something so small, a simple blanket, carry so much weight? I realized then that this wasn't just about sentimental value or my daughter's memory. There was something else hidden in her words, something urgent. I carefully refolded the note and set it aside, pretending to be calm when Sarah peeked into the room, Her eyes flickered with what I could only describe as annoyance or maybe fear, but she quickly masked it. "Everything okay?" she asked, her tone overly cheerful. "Just fine," I said, my voice steady even as my mind raced. "Emma's blanket is important. We can't just throw things away without knowing what's inside." She hesitated, then muttered something about old habits and left the room. I exhaled slowly. I had to find out why she was acting this way, and more importantly, what my daughter had hidden in that blanket. The note mentioned hiding something for a reason, and instinctively, I knew it wasn't just a piece of paper. There had to be more, a small object, maybe even something dangerous, something Sarah might have wanted to remove. My heart pounded as I unfolded the blanket slowly, scanning every inch of the soft woolen fabric. And then I saw it, tucked carefully into a secret fold, stitched in a way that only my daughter could have thought of, was a tiny velvet pouch. I held my breath as I opened it. Inside was something I never expected, something that would not only explain Sarah's strange behavior, but would also change the way I understood my daughter's final days. It was a secret, one that had been kept for years, a mystery that now rested in my hands. And in that moment, I realized I was standing at the edge of a storm that could either bring my family closer together or tear it apart forever. I had a choice: protect Emma or confront Sarah and risk revealing everything at once. My mind whirled with possibilities, but one thing was certain. The moment I saw what was inside the blanket, I knew life would never be the same again. You won't believe what I found inside that little pouch. It changes everything. Like, share, and subscribe to see the shocking truth in the next of the story. My hands shook as I held the velvet pouch, its weight far heavier than it appeared. I glanced at Emma, still sleeping peacefully in her crib, completely unaware that the family she loved so dearly was hiding secrets that could shatter everything. My mind raced. How had my daughter known that this would one day fall into my hands? And why had Sarah thrown it away like it was nothing? I carefully untied the tiny ribbon securing the pouch. Inside, I found a small, ornate locket. It looked delicate, almost fragile, but as I opened it, I felt a wave of shock wash over me. Inside the locket was a tiny photograph, my daughter, smiling at someone I had never seen before, and a folded piece of paper. I unfolded the note and read the words slowly, my chest tightening with every sentence. "Grandma, I had to protect Emma from knowing the truth too soon. This is not just a locket. It holds the key to something that could hurt her if it falls into the wrong hands. Promise me you will never let anyone near it, especially Sarah. Some hearts are not what they seem." I froze. Sarah. My mind immediately went back to the way she had flinched when I first confronted her about the blanket. Could she know what this locket held? And if she did, what was she planning? A cold sense of dread settled over me. I thought about confronting her immediately, demanding answers, but something told me to wait. My daughter's note was clear. This was dangerous, and the wrong move could risk Emma's safety. I decided to keep the locket hidden and observe Sarah first. She had acted strangely lately, but now I realized there was a reason behind every little annoyance, every subtle irritation she showed toward Emma and me. Later that evening, I watched her from the kitchen while she was tidying up. She hummed softly, unaware that I was paying attention, but her eyes kept darting toward Emma's room, like she was worried, or maybe plotting. My heart pounded. I realized that if Sarah had noticed the locket before, she might have tried to remove it. Suddenly, I understood the blanket's importance in a way I hadn't before. My daughter hadn't just knitted it for warmth or comfort. She had hidden the locket inside it, knowing that one day someone she trusted, me, would find it. And now, Sarah's actions weren't just careless. They were dangerous. I needed to know why. I needed answers before it was too late. But how could I confront someone who had so easily discarded something that meant so much, someone who might already know the locket's secret? I realized then that I was stepping into a game I didn't fully understand, one my daughter had left me a guide for, but with instructions so cryptic that even I wasn't sure I could follow them. The night grew quiet, and I made a decision. I would keep the locket safe, protect Emma at all costs, and find out Sarah's true intentions. But deep down I knew it wouldn't be long before the truth forced itself into the open, and when it did, everything would change. The next morning, I woke early, the velvet locket hidden safely in my pocket. Emma was giggling in her crib, and for a moment, the world felt normal. But I knew better. The truth was waiting, and Sarah's actions yesterday had left me on edge. I couldn't ignore it any longer. I had to confront her, but carefully. I found her in the kitchen, humming softly while making coffee. Her eyes lit up when she saw me, but I noticed the subtle tension in her shoulders. "Good morning," she said, voice sweet, almost too sweet. I nodded, keeping my own expression neutral. "Sarah, we need to talk about Emma's blanket," I began, trying to sound calm. I could feel my pulse racing, but I knew I had to control it. "I saw you throw it away yesterday. Can you tell me why?" Her smile faltered. She glanced at Emma's room, then back at me. "I didn't think it was necessary anymore. It was old, and she hardly uses it." I took a deep breath, forcing myself not to raise my voice. "Sarah, it's not just a blanket. It belonged to my daughter, and now it has something very important inside it." I kept my tone low, but firm. Her face changed subtly then, a flicker of fear crossing her eyes. Important? What do you mean?" she asked, a little too quickly. I didn't answer immediately. Instead, I reached into my pocket and let her see the velvet pouch. Her reaction was instantaneous. Her hand trembled slightly as she stepped back, her eyes widening. That split-second confirmation told me everything. She knew. She had known all along. "Sarah, what is your connection to this? Why would you throw away something so precious and hide the truth from all of us?" Her mouth opened, then closed, words failing her. Finally, she said, her voice barely above the whisper, It's complicated. I didn't mean to hurt anyone." Complicated? That word felt like a dagger in my chest. I realized then that whatever my daughter had hidden inside the blanket, whatever secret the locket carried, it was powerful enough to terrify Sarah. Powerful enough that she wanted it gone before anyone could discover it. I looked at her carefully. "You need to tell me everything, Sarah. Now. Emma's safety depends on it, and if you try to lie," my voice dropped to a low, dangerous whisper, "you'll regret it." For a long moment, she just stared at me, then slowly sank into a chair. Her hands shook as she folded over her knees. I realized that this confrontation was just the beginning. Whatever she had been hiding, it wasn't just about Emma's blanket or the locket. It was about our family, our past, and a secret my daughter had fought to protect even after her death. I knew that in a few moments, Sarah would reveal the truth, or at least part of it. But I also knew that hearing it could change everything. There was no turning back. The calm morning had ended. What awaited was a storm, and it would test every ounce of trust and courage I had. The secret Sarah revealed left me speechless, and it changed everything about our family. Like, share, and subscribe to uncover the shocking truth. Sarah sat there, trembling, and I could see the weight of a secret she had been carrying for years. My hands tightened around the velvet pouch in my pocket. Emma was playing nearby, blissfully unaware, and yet I knew that the calm of our home was about to shatter. Finally, Sarah spoke, her voice barely above a whisper. It's not just a blanket. That locket, it belonged to someone in my family, someone who my mother warned me about." Her eyes darted to mine, pleading. "I didn't want Emma or you to get hurt." I stared at her, confusion and anger warring in my chest. Hurt? Sarah, it's my daughter's gift. Why would it hurt anyone? She swallowed hard. It contains something dangerous, something my family has been trying to protect for generations. When I saw the blanket, I panicked. I didn't know you'd find it, and I thought it might be safer if it disappeared. My heart hammered. Dangerous? Generations of protection? My mind raced back to my daughter's note, her warning that I should trust no one. Everything was clicking into place. The cryptic words, Sarah's sudden fear, her determination to throw the blanket away. But why now? Why involve Emma? Sarah, what exactly is in this locket? I demanded, my voice trembling but firm. Her lips pressed together tightly. It's a key, she admitted finally. A key to something that could cause real harm if it falls into the wrong hands. My family has been hiding it for years, and my mother told me to destroy anything that could reveal it. When I saw Emma with the blanket, I panicked. I didn't know what else to do. I sank into a chair, my mind reeling. Emma was playing innocently, laughing softly, completely unaware of the storm swirling around her. My daughter had left this secret, knowing it would one day come to me, and now Sarah, someone I had trusted, had nearly destroyed it. But Sarah, why didn't you tell me? Why not ask for help? Why hide it and risk hurting my granddaughter? Tears filled her eyes. I thought I was protecting her. I didn't know if anyone else could be trusted. I was scared. I could see the fear etched into her face, the panic, the guilt. But I also knew that fear was no excuse for what she had done. The locket in my hand wasn't just a family heirloom. It was a responsibility, a secret my daughter had entrusted to me. And now, more than ever, I understood why she had warned me not to trust anyone. I took a deep breath and looked down at the velvet pouch, feeling the weight of my daughter's memory pressing down on me. Protecting Emma wasn't just about keeping her safe from the world. It was about keeping her safe from the secrets hidden in our own home. And in that moment, I realized that the real challenge had only just begun. That evening, the house felt heavier than ever. Emma was asleep, the soft glow of her nightlight casting gentle shadows across the nursery. I sat at the kitchen table, the velvet pouch in front of me, my mind racing. Sarah had confessed that the locket was dangerous, but she hadn't explained why. What could be inside something so small that it could endanger Emma? I could feel my daughter's presence in every corner of the room, as if she was urging me to stay calm, to think clearly. Her note had warned me not to trust anyone fully, and now I understood why. Sarah had panicked, but she hadn't lied completely. There was more to uncover, and I knew I had to do it carefully. I opened the locket again, examining the tiny photograph inside. My daughter's handwriting was etched onto the paper, a hidden message beneath the photo. My eyes scanned the lines, each word making my stomach churn. The key is not what it seems. Protect it, or all will be lost. Trust only me. I realized then that the locket wasn't just symbolic. It literally held a key. A key to what? I didn't yet know, but I felt the gravity of the responsibility pressing down on me. Whoever knew about it could exploit it, and Emma, my innocent, beautiful granddaughter, was at the center of it all. The silence of the house was shattered by the sound of Sarah entering the kitchen quietly. I think I should help," she said softly, voice trembling. Her eyes were full of fear and regret. "I may have panicked, but I don't want anyone to get hurt. Let me make this right." I looked at her cautiously, weighing every word. Trusting her fully felt impossible, yet I needed her cooperation to protect Emma. "If we do this," I said slowly, "we do it carefully. No mistakes. And no one else can know. Not until it's safe." Sarah nodded, a mix of relief and anxiety in her eyes. She knew the stakes. She understood the danger she had almost unleashed. We spent the night going over every detail my daughter had left behind, piecing together clues she had hidden in the locket, in her notes, and even in the blanket. The more we discovered, the clearer it became. This was bigger than either of us had imagined. The secret wasn't just a family mystery, it was a responsibility that could change lives if mishandled. As the first light of dawn crept through the windows, I felt a renewed sense of purpose. I had the locket, I had the notes, and now, with Sarah's hesitant help, I had a plan to protect Emma. But one thought gnawed at me. Was it enough? Would the danger lurking in the shadows finally reveal itself, or had we only delayed the inevitable? One thing was certain. Whatever came next, there was no turning back. The secret my daughter had entrusted to me had to be protected at all costs, and the cost might be higher than I ever imagined. The next moment changed everything. What we discovered could have destroyed our family. Like, share, and subscribe to see the shocking twist. By midday, the tension in the house was almost unbearable. Emma played quietly in the living room, oblivious to the storm brewing around her. I sat at the table, the velvet pouch open in front of me, and Sarah beside me, her hands wringing nervously. Every line of her face betrayed the guilt she had been hiding for months, and yet there was something more, a fear I couldn't yet name. Finally, I spoke, my voice steady but firm. "Sarah, you've been honest so far, but I need the full truth. What exactly is this locket protecting?" She hesitated, then exhaled shakily. "It's not just a key, it's a map," she admitted. "A map to something powerful, something my family has been guarding for generations. If the wrong person finds it, it could destroy lives. I didn't know what my mother intended when she gave it to me, but I realized too late that keeping it hidden wasn't enough. That's why I panicked when I saw the blanket." I stared at her, my mind struggling to process every word. A map? Powerful enough to endanger Emma? My daughter had known, and that's why she had hidden it in the blanket, knowing I would find it. It wasn't just sentimental, it was protection. "Where is this map?" I asked cautiously. Sarah's hands shook as she opened the locket fully. Inside, there was a tiny, folded piece of parchment, almost invisible to the naked eye. Carefully, we unfolded it together. My eyes widened. It wasn't a map in the traditional sense. It was a guide filled with symbols, directions, and warnings. Whoever could decipher it would gain access to something unimaginable, something my daughter had fought to keep out of the wrong hands. I felt a chill run down my spine. Emma's laughter from the living room sounded suddenly distant, almost fragile. The reality hit me. This secret wasn't just about the past. It was about the present and the future. Sarah looked at me, fear and guilt mingling in her eyes. I never meant to put anyone at risk," she whispered. "I thought I was protecting everyone, but I almost destroyed it all." I clenched the locket tightly. The responsibility of my daughter's trust, the weight of generations of secrets rested entirely on me now. Protecting Emma meant keeping this map, and everything it led to, safe from those who would misuse it. But even as I resolved this, I knew there was more danger looming than I could see. And then it happened. A noise from the front door. A faint but deliberate knock. My heart leapt into my throat. I froze, listening. Whoever it was, they weren't just visiting. They knew. Sarah's eyes widened in terror. "They found out," she whispered. "You can't, Emma!" In that moment, I realized we were no longer just trying to protect a secret. We were trying to protect a life. And the choice we made next would determine everything. The knock at the door echoed through the house, heavy and deliberate. My heart raced, and I instinctively grabbed the velvet pouch, holding it close to my chest. Emma, now awake and curious, peeked from behind the couch, sensing the tension. I motioned for her to stay put. I took a deep breath and opened the door slowly. Standing there was a man I had never seen before, but the way he looked at the house, at the blanket in my arms, made my blood run cold. His eyes were sharp, calculating, and I immediately knew. He was here for the locket, for the secret my daughter had hidden. Sarah gasped behind me. He's from my family, she whispered, voice trembling. I warned you. I didn't know he'd come now. The man smiled faintly, a chill running down my spine. I see someone found my family's secret, he said smoothly. Hand it over, and no one gets hurt. I stood my ground, gripping the velvet pouch tighter. This belongs to my granddaughter, I said firmly. You're not taking it. He stepped forward, and I realized just how dangerous this confrontation had become. Sarah's hands shook violently, and I could see the fear in her eyes, the same fear she had tried to hide when she threw the blanket away. Suddenly, I understood everything. Her panic, her secrecy, her desperate attempts to protect Emma. She hadn't been selfish. She had been terrified of what could happen if someone like him got the locket. Summoning all my courage, I stepped slightly forward. You will not touch it, I said again, my voice low but unwavering. This was my daughter's gift, and now it is my responsibility. You will leave or I call the police. For a long moment, the man stared at me, evaluating. Then, with a slow, deliberate step back, he raised his hands. This isn't over, he warned, his voice icy. But I see you understand the weight of this secret. He turned and left, disappearing down the street as silently as he had come. I closed the door, my hands trembling, and turned to Sarah. She sank into a chair, relief washing over her. I didn't know what else to do, she whispered. I took a deep breath, looking at the velvet pouch in my hands. The locket, the blanket, the notes, all of it had been a test of trust, courage, and love. My daughter had entrusted me with more than a secret. She had entrusted me with Emma's safety and her legacy. I hugged Emma tightly, feeling the warmth of her tiny body against mine. No stranger, no danger would take this from her, not while I was here. And I knew that no matter what challenges came next, the love and courage we shared as a family would see us through. The secret was safe, the locket was safe, and Emma, my granddaughter, was safe. If you thought this story was shocking, wait until you see what happens when secrets from the past collide with the future. Like, share, and subscribe for more unbelievable stories like this.